In last week's video, we shared 4 spiritual attacks that all Ephraim believers experience. Well, there's actually 5, and the last one that we're going to share today is ministry opposition. I wanted to do a total separate video for this one. So let's jump in. Ministry opposition. This is when you start sharing your Ephraim awakening online. You post a video. You write a blog. You comment on forums, and the attacks come fast. Ask me how I know. And what do they say? You're teaching heresy. You're leading people astray. You're part of the Hebrew roots cult. And this is why, this is what's going on with so many people in the Hebrew Israelite awakening. Everybody's accusing us of being heretics and all of that. That's ministry opposition. They say you're denying the new covenant. You're putting people back under the law. You're a false teacher. Or you don't use Hebrew names, so you're not really awake. You still say Jesus, you still say God, so you're not fully awake, and God's mad at you. I'm amazed at how many people who really do believe that God is this angry, vengeful person sitting up on the throne, ticked off at everybody because they don't refer to him by his Hebrew name. And so, he's upset. I thought he so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I thought Christ died for the ungodly. So the wrath of God is removed off of those of us who have accepted Messiah as our atonement. You say, well, but you don't refer to him, by the right name. Typically, I refer to him as the Father, my Father. Why? Jesus said, I go to my God and your God, my Father and your Father. Since I've been born of his Spirit, I'm a son of God. I refer to him as my Father. Yes, the Most High is my Father. It's that personal relationship. Okay? But now these attacks don't stop at theology, because they start attacking your character. They attack your motives. They attack your intelligence. You're just trying to make money. You're seeking attention. You're deceived. That's ministry opposition. You're deceived. You're dangerous. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. And so after enough of these attacks, you might start thinking, maybe I should just keep this to myself. Maybe I'm not called to teach. Maybe I should delete everything and just go back to being quiet. Other teachers and the Ephraim space or the Hebrew awakening space, they won't collaborate with you because, you don't agree with them on every doctrine. Potential ministry partners, they ghost you when they find out your theology. I go through this, so I know what I'm talking about, right? Platforms, they start banning your content. Algorithms start suppressing your reach. You know how many times I just wanted to stop? But because I'm not doing it for the numbers, my thing has always been, if I can just reach one person with the truth of this message, I'm good. I'm good. Because it's not about the numbers. It's about faithfulness to what the Father sent me to do. So don't get caught up in that. But here we go. Here's the truth. Here's the honest truth. It's exhausting. It is. It's exhausting. It's work. It takes work. It's a lot of work. You know, some days you just don't know if it's worth it. Some days you want to quit. Some days you think, why am I putting myself through this? But let me show you something that hopefully would change your perspective. In Acts chapter 5, verses 38 through 39, there was this controversy, right? And one of the religious leaders, Gamaliel, he was a respected Pharisee, was addressing the Sanhedrin about the apostles. And this is what he says. This is what he says. He said, keep away from these men and let them alone. Because if this plan or this work is of men, it will come to nothing. But if it is of God, you cannot overthrow it, lest you even be found to fight against God. So when all of that ministry opposition comes, just know this. If your message is from God, opposition can't stop it. Now, on the flip side, if your message is from God, there will be opposition. But the opposition can't stop the message because it's from God. It might slow it down. It might frustrate you, but it cannot be stopped. This awakening of Judah and Israel, this awakening of the two houses, it can't be stopped because it's from God. If people are fighting against your message, they might be fighting against God himself. This is not ego, folks. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, this is not, touching out mine anointed and do my prophet no harm. No, this is not that. This is the truth that the message of God cannot be stopped. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12 says, yeah, and all who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, will suffer persecution. So if you think you're going to walk through this thing and not endure hardship as a good soldier, you're reading the wrong book. You're reading the wrong book. You need to pray on that. And teaching truth, persecution is guaranteed. Now, it's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something right. Yeshua was called demon-possessed, accused of blasphemy, crucified by religious leaders. Paul was beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, opposed by Jews and Gentiles. Every prophet was rejected, attacked, and often killed. You know what they all had in common? They were speaking truth that threatened the religious establishment, just like you're doing. Matthew 5, verse 10 through 12, Yeshua says, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Rejoice, not endure, not tolerate, but rejoice because you're in the company of the prophets. Here is how you fight ministry opposition. Number one, expect it. Stop being surprised. 2 Timothy 3:12 says, persecution is guaranteed. So when opposition comes, don't think, what did I do wrong? Think, well, it's right on schedule. Number two, don't defend yourself to everyone. Yeshua was silent before his accusers. You don't owe every critic a response. Some people aren't looking for truth. They're looking for a fight. They're looking for a debate. Matthew 7:6 says, don't cast your pearls before swine. Number three, let your fruit speak. 1 Peter 2:12 says, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God. So live with integrity, teach with clarity, love with consistency. Your fruit will silence critics better than your arguments. Number four, build a support network of others. You need people who understand the cost of this calling. You need people who can encourage you when the attacks get heavy. Remember Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron. Number five, remember your calling. You're not teaching for applause. You're not building a platform for fame. You're participating in the restoration of the whole house of Israel. Ezekiel 37, Jeremiah 31, Hosea 1, those should be your focus text. This is prophetic work. The opposition proves it matters. Now here's some action steps for attack number 5. Write down why you started this journey, not what you're teaching. Why you're teaching it. What burden did God put on your heart? So when the opposition comes, go back to your why. It will anchor you. Let me say that again. Write down why you started this journey, not what you're teaching, why you're teaching it. What burden did the Father put on your heart? When the opposition comes, go back to your why. It's your anchor. Every attack you face is a badge of honor. Every critic is confirmation that your message matters. Every attempt to silence you is proof that the enemy is worried. And remember, last of all, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not defeated. You're Ephraim, and you are awakening for such a time as this. Shalom, remnant. Stand firm, and I'll see you in the comments. Peace and blessings.